Mira Business FM.
Mira Business FM with me, Tim Elliott. This hour we're talking artificial intelligence, but it's travel and tourism and artificial intelligence. Adoption amongst UAE travellers surging 57% year on year when it comes to thinking about where you want to go, planning the trip, maybe booking the trip. That's really what we're talking about. Generation X and Generation Z leading the charge. Daumantas Grigaravicius is with me. He's the head of Middle East for the Fintech platform Adyen. Thank you for staying around. I'm going to shorten your name to D. Is that okay? Are we at that point where we can...
I think we're there.
We're familiar. That works. Phew, he said. I want to drill a little bit more into generational thinking because there is obviously a gap, a mismatch between the generations X, Y, and Z and how we use things, where we look, how we want to search or access information. But it's fairly they're fairly structured, demarcated lines, aren't they, between X, Y, and Z? Z, I guess, the social media generation. That's where they get what they want to go to.
I think a lot of the time, yeah. It's about where each one of those segments kind of spends most of their time. And I think social media for Gen Z and probably for millennials is the key part of where they are looking. And now you see commerce changing, so you can find, a post which will have an outfit, which will then allow you to go and buy that. You can find a post that will have a hotel, which allows you to click and go book that. That has been around for quite some time. And I think now it'll be interesting to see how AI comes into it and makes it even more personalized with those posts. Very easy for them, I suppose, to do that. They know what you like, don't like, and so they can see you're looking at a lot of posts which are related to a beach holiday or a ski holiday. Okay, well, here you go. We're going to push this forward.
Do you know, I'm smiling, not because I'm laughing at what you're saying, just because I used to think when I ordered something online and it would say, if you like that, you might like this. If you like that shirt, maybe you could team it with this outfit. And I used to think, don't tell me what to wear. And it used to quite upset me. Now I change and I look and I think, oh, that blue shirt would look good with those shoes. And so
it's got good.
It has.
Yeah.
That's exactly the point. It has got good and it has started to become really effective.
Yeah. No, for sure. And businesses leverage that, a lot because they can cross-sell, they can upsell quite easily because they do understand. But the main thing for businesses is to be able to have like a single source of truth for information. So, social media, fine. They can see, what you're looking at and so on. And so maybe it's a lot easier to make recommendations. For other businesses, it's not that easy. So, for example, from our perspective, if we think about payments, we offer our services to both payments that are done online, e-commerce, but also in person.
Okay.
And, if I'm a merchant, it's quite interesting for me to know, I want to know if user A, prefers to buy online or in store. And being able to see that information allows me to then think about, okay, now I can market to them in this way. I can see that they like this type of product based on what they buy. We know that product is stocked in store and is visible. Let's direct them there to say, you'll get 20% off in store. So there's a lot of really clever things that businesses can then start doing.
It's funny that, and this is ever so slightly off topic, but there used to be a view, did there not, that to think of upselling in that way, insidious is the wrong word, and that's a little bit too extreme, but it was viewed with suspicion, I guess. But the point here is always, isn't it, that it's still your decision. You don't have to buy. It's all about the option.
Yeah.
List of options.
It's probably a complicated topic because I think a lot of people will feel like that for sure.
Some people do.
Because
not everybody.
And it can be quite subliminal, right? And before you know it, you're buying stuff that actually didn't really.
Sure.
You just keep seeing it. But I think that's where it's the responsibility of businesses to actually figure out what their customers want because that's when it's actually adding value. I really don't mind, going back to your, clothing example, if I get recommended something that I like, which is at the right price point, the right quality, the right style, great. I didn't know about that brand. Now I do. Quite happy with that. No issue for me.
Yeah.
As you say, it's my choice. Do I want to buy it now? Maybe not. But now I know that brand. Maybe I'll come back to it later. So for the business, it's mission accomplished. And for me, I get a new brand or style of clothing that I like.
Yeah, it's just very often you see online, don't you? You see this immediate reaction thing, the keyboard warrior thing, and it's very much, why are you offering me that? I didn't ask you for that. Well, then don't bother with it. It's really quite simple. It's a response thing. So generation, the Gen Y are on social media, millennials to an extent, and Gen X are using I love this phrase that you used during the break there, actually, traditional areas, i.e. Googling.
Yeah.
I love how that's become traditional in 5 years, in 25 years.
No, it is funny.
Brilliant.
I think that's Google, more established social media channels like Facebook, which, are quite well known for boomers and Gen X to be the kind of favored social platform because of the family element. Exactly. So there's a lot of advertisements. There's a lot of things that they see there that drive them to make purchases, to book holidays. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Let me ask you a question about engagement. And I think this really it kind of excites me in a lot of ways because it's engagement is so important to be interested in something and to be able to be verbose or to tell a story. You mentioned our notoriously short attention spans these days. We all know that that's increasingly the way we are. I guess a lot of people follow particular influencers, particular content creators. Some of those use AI. You have to be able to, filter the truth. But what does that mean for engagement online? Was the first question I wanted to ask you.
I think that probably steps into the personalization aspect.
It kind of does, I think.
Yeah. So I think a lot of businesses that we see are now trying to capture the attention of their customers by giving them personalized recommendations, personalized offers, things that are quite specific. It's not just a generic discount or something like that. And I think, again, AI is probably going to give those businesses the tools to be able to do that more. Again, from our side, the unified view allows them to do that. But I think that's where we're going to. And I think businesses that actually adopt that better than others will probably start winning, market share or customer share from businesses that are just not adopting.
Okay. What about digital tools that people use to plan online and the intersect between using those digital tools to plan, to book, to fly, whatever it might be, and those real-life interactions in travel and hospitality?
Yeah.
The intersection of those two things, hopefully favourable, hopefully positive, not necessarily always the case, though.
Yeah, and I still, like I said, believe that the human element is like a big part of hospitality. It does depend a little bit on what segment of hospitality, because I'll give you an example. So, if I said to some people, okay, when you go in, you check in on a kiosk, just you put in your ID, you put in your passport, your reference, whatever it might be. Key comes out, off you go.
Right.
Some people would say like, oh, that's a bit rubbish, no interaction, no one welcoming. Yeah. But if you ask a business traveler, for example, they would be like, absolutely fine. Just come off a long flight, a taxi, don't need to have a conversation about, where the cookie is or what's in the mini bar or whatever. Like, it's just, I need to go up to my room, get some rest, do a call or whatever. So I think it does depend, like, what's your offering. But I think, AI and digital tools to kind of give the personalization for customers that are out there that you're trying to win, paired with, still, I think, a very strong human touch and customer service within your hotels, your venues. I think that's a pretty nice winning combination, because that feels pretty personal to me. I get interested through a personable promotion, which is for me. And then when I'm there, they maybe know certain information about me, which I like, and they give me that kind of human touch.
Yeah, it's so interesting that to be greeted with the fruit juice and the towel as you walk in, the flannel as you walk in, or just the recognition of you by name is always something that I think
small touch, but it's good.
Those are the nice things. You talked a little bit about the barriers to adoption in terms of legacy technology systems, for example. But what other barriers do we need to break down for broader AI adoption in hospitality, in the sector, to get through?
Yeah.
What other problems are there, I suppose, that you're facing? What other issues do you come up against?
So from the report, we saw that 67% of businesses in hospitality suffered with fragmented systems. So it's very much a problem.
It's a hefty 2/3. That's
Exactly. Which again is no surprise. These businesses have been around for a long time, and management has changed many times, and different ideas, different goals. So this is what happens. So first, I think it's resolving the fragmentation by picking partners that allow to not eliminate all of it, but bring it down to 20%, 30%, whatever. And then the other challenge is it probably goes back to that consolidation point or the noise point. There's so much choice out there, so many new developments, and they're not cheap. So if I'm to invest as a hotel, as a hospitality group into something, I kind of need to know that this is the winning formula rather than just a coming and going fad. And I think that's quite tricky right now for these companies to identify because, everyone is looking at them and asking questions about AI and adoption, and shareholders may be doing the same. And there is a pressure, but at the same time, it's like, okay, well, it's a multi-million investment. Who do we go with? How do we know it's going to be here tomorrow, and how do we know it's actually got a track record to give us the ROI we want? So there's also like that element that there needs to be a bit of consolidation before these companies feel comfortable that they can really put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah, and how much of a difference could it really make to my bottom line when I'm making that kind of an investment? What does it mean for destination marketing? I think that's a really interesting point. What does the adoption of AI mean in tourism and travel terms in destination marketing?
Do you mean like by which destinations become kind of the more popular ones?
Yeah,
or?
will we see changes in that? The traditional destinations from here, I don't know, take the Maldives as a great kind of chill destination, for example.
Yeah, interesting question, actually. I think what you probably would see is more visibility of favorable places to go to at the right time of the year. So if I think about like a real world problem is that if you're here and you're looking to book trips towards the east, you have to figure out like, okay, when's rainy season? Can I go at that time? If I want to go to the Maldives, if I want to go to Madagascar, if I want to go to Africa, whatever, like these are the kind of things, which goes back to that overwhelm point. When you're looking, you're like, now I need to find the hotel, the flight. I need to know if it's rainy season. I know if it's hurricane season, whatever it is. And then these destinations could begin, promoting themselves at the right time for the right season to the right customers. That could definitely drive a lot more travelers.
It's slightly unfair asking you to speculate in that way, but it's an interesting point, I think.
Yeah. Good point. Like this is kind of something that comes to mind, but not really set in facts.
I feel like I put you on the spot a little bit there, and I apologise, but I just wanted to get an honest opinion. Can I talk to you a little bit about efficiencies, operational efficiencies, and if we can get into a few more kind of techie details? I think I'm interested in how what the reports told you and your opinion on how AI automates processes. First of all, first of three things I wanted to know.
Yeah. So one of the big challenges, because if we take a hospitality or a hotel venue, is the fact that it's broken down into multiple sections: the check-in, the room service, the F&B, all of which as transactions are racking up, have to be put into one central view somewhere. But they don't often look the same because they're using different providers to take payments, for example, if I speak specifically for our industry.
That would be the experience of many, I would think. I could think of a number of examples of that. I mean, experiences, for example, I don't know, banana boat trips on the beach would be a completely different provider. So it's hard to get that all in one place.
No, exactly. And so, if you can't get it into one place, then you can't really get all of the insights that you want from it, i.e. who are the kind of, spenders, who are the ones spending on entertainment, who are the ones spending on F&B. And AI can really help that because it can help to consolidate that view. Or again, it's about going with partners that have a unified view out of the box.
Okay, and then if you get that right, you automate the processes in the right way, you can then personalize customer experiences because you have that data in place.
Yeah.
So it's a natural extension of that, and if you can do that, you can then optimize your resources, your management of resources as well.
Yeah.
So this is, in some ways, I'm trying to simplify this as much as I can. But the way it works is that you're really getting your ducks in a row to create a seamless experience.
Yeah, and it is efficiency because a lot of businesses or departments within businesses can look at AI or anything that's efficient. It's kind of like, well, that's my job on the line. Okay, it's not the senior management because they are always looking at efficiencies, but let's think about the mid layer. But actually, it's the contrary. It's kind of, let's take the work that you probably don't like that much, the grunt work. If you have 5 reports from 5 different sections of the hotel, I don't think there's a person who enjoys going through that to try and make sure that it all looks neat. So you remove that, which doesn't mean that you're suddenly out and you don't have a job. It's actually that you'll probably be moved into something that's more interesting for you. And we see that conversation happening a lot, especially within like kind of the traditional businesses that are here in the UAE. And that I think is just worth mentioning because it very much is a case of being directed or being utilized in another part of the business. The business, if it has the people there, it probably wants to use them in a better capacity because those people know the business, they know the culture. If you get rid of them and you bring new people in, it's very hard to bring the right people in, and they're already there in the business.
I think that's a really important point to make. And in hospitality and tourism, perhaps more than most businesses as well. Yeah. In terms of the report, you know it inside out. I've read it a couple of times. I don't see anything in there, and I don't mean this to poke fun. I don't see anything massively surprising. The results to me seem to be, I kind of thought that was the case. In and of itself, research like this is important, I think, and it's useful. There's nothing in there that really stands out as, I didn't expect that. Was there anything that you thought, hold on a minute, that's an anomaly, or is it? Did anything strike you that way?
No, not really. I get your point.
I'm not saying it's boring in any way. I'm saying
No.
It kind of backs up, I would imagine, what you're talking to your partners about.
Yeah. No, and it does. And I think, because we look at such a wide spectrum of people for this report, we do see a lot of consistencies because, they're all looking at this technology in the same way. Yeah. I also, haven't found anything to be like super crazy and out there like, oh, wow, I really didn't realize that would be the case. I think probably, if I was pressed on it, I think the part that did somewhat surprise me is that if we think about the generations using it, pretty much all of them were an increase of between 60 to 70% from the previous year, except for boomers, which was I think around like 16%. Okay. So it wasn't that the boomers were low. I think that's expected, but it's the fact that everyone else was so close in terms of adoption. So there wasn't the older generation is significantly less and the younger generation is significantly higher. They were all roughly around the same, which I thought was interesting to kind of just reiterate the point that it's penetrating everywhere. And because those people are using the different channels, that doesn't matter because all those channels are adopting AI.
We're all using mobile phones, aren't we?
That's true.
We're all sat there with a screen.
Maybe not that surprising.
And a supercomputer. No, but I do think that's an interesting point. I mean, some of the things in here, over half of hospitality providers say AI search tools that help guests with booking decisions will reshape the industry in 2025 and beyond. You'd kind of expect that because, you have the relatively early adopters that know, and people are starting to come to the conclusion. That makes a lot of sense. Another 50% believe AI-driven personalization will transform and elevate how they deliver guest experiences. And it's really the same kind of thing, isn't it? What we do, I suppose, what we glean from this, the real kind of learning message is AI is pretty darn important.
Yeah.
It's going to be the way forward. It is something that you have to learn to utilize.
For sure.
It is a tool that, you're going to have to go forward with.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about the personalization, how did hotels do personalization before? Well, they just remember the top guests, but
quite right.
The capacity to do that is maybe, someone can remember the top 20 or their top 20, but with tools like AI, now you can kind of make everyone feel the same as, the top 5 or top 10 or top 20 customers previously. So it's a scaling advantage, and that, I think from a consumer point of view, is really nice because that means that you get a nicer experience for your money. I think that's a pretty good win for consumers.
We've got to talk to each other, and it's a nice thing to actually spend time saying hello to somebody. It's the whites of the eyes thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Final thoughts on this? Are you going to be repeating this exercise for next year?
Yeah.
Is this going to be an annual report?
It's an annual report.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of a few reports that we do for a couple of different industries. So yes, we will be repeating it. We will be continuing to kind of look at how certain trends that we touched upon, like agentic AI, are developing. So, we talked a lot about the adoption side. Maybe next year we'll be talking a lot about how many people have gone from just using AI as a way of finding ideas and bookings to actually making those bookings. And then I think the really interesting part will be how fraud would be impacted with the introduction of AI booking your hotel, booking your flights, and how that looks. And I think that part is still unknown, but I think over the next year we'll probably get much more visibility on what it looks like.
I like the crystal ball casing there. Hopefully that's what we're going to be talking about this time next year.
Yeah. Something completely left field.
You never know, do you? What would you like to see change into? Final question here, really, Dee. What would you like, or I guess expect to see change in AI terms to emerge from a report like this?
I think, we touched on it. I think what I would like to see is how many businesses that we have spoken to have actually seen a significant impact from the AI tools, from the AI noise that's out there on their business and on the actual end consumer. Because I think right now, like we've been discussing, it's not super clear. It's going to change the landscape, or, it's going to be the next big thing. They're big, broad statements, but it'd be great to see some specifics. And we're speaking to businesses. We know that they are using those tools. So we are, again, anticipating that it will come. But I think, like I said, there needs to be a little bit of consolidation, and we need to see what is the proof in the pudding.
It's funny. It's the great unknown. It's the great beyond at the moment, isn't it? And we're all not really sure. Nobody really knows. Yeah. We're training, educating children for jobs that don't exist yet. They'll exist in 3 years, and 5 years, and 10 years. It is the unknown, but it's also it's remarkable how quickly adoption comes. And I go back to the old Google example of mine. I'm putting in questions now, and I'm expecting AI to give me that deeper dive as well. So I suppose it's somewhere along there. Fingers crossed, I think. Adyen research reveals AI adoption among UAE travelers surging 57% year on year. Gen X and Gen Z are leading the charge. That is the paper. Daumantas Grigaravicius is the head of Middle East for the financial technology platform Adyen. I've really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you.
Likewise. Thanks a lot.
A deeper dive it was. This is Mira Business FM. Don't forget, you can catch us online. We are streaming on Twitch. We are on YouTube. You can find find us Newswise on X, formerly known as Twitter, and across most platforms as well. Subscribe, get in touch, let us know what you think, how you feel about the interviews, the content that we're producing. And you can find us on the website as well, mirabusiness.fm. That's the show today. This is Mira Business FM.
Mira Business FM. Mira Business FM.
Welcome to DayBreak. My name is Tim Elliott. Inzi is just in the green room, retired now after his hour there. This hour, we're going to be talking about tourism, essentially, and the tourism industry accelerating its digital transformation. AI adoption in tourism 2025 is emerging as a defining trend for destination marketing, operational efficiency, and customer engagement. Now, Daumantas Grigaravicius is the head of Middle East for the financial technology platform Adyen, and he's here with me. It's a pleasure to meet you, Daumantas.
You too. Thank you for having me.
Good to have you here. You're very welcome. Look, I want to talk to you about this for a number of reasons. Essentially, AI has been the topic of conversation for the last 2 days. I'm not yet AI'd out. There is a lot to say, and it is everywhere. First of all, before we go any further, just talk me through the history of Adyen, the fintech platform that you represent.
Sure, sounds good. An interesting story, in my opinion.
Go on.
You'll be the judge. So the business started in the late 2000s. Mm-hmm. The founders had already worked together on another business, which they sold. It went into RBS back then.
Okay.
And basically became kind of like a bit of a foundation technology of their acquiring business, their payments business. And I think when the founders were there, they kind of realized, I don't think we cracked it. I think we should keep trying to do what we're doing because we think we can build something better.
Okay.
And I think that was the pretense for Adyen. They got back together after the time in RBS, and they decided that, we're going to build something that is from end to end, built by us. It's not integrated with other partners, and there's other third parties involved. And the name itself, Adyen, is Surinamese for to start again. And so that's that's kind of the idea. The payment world is fragmented. They said, let's start again. We'll build from the bottom up. We'll build it all in-house, and we'll be able to serve the biggest merchants doing it.
So before the RBS segment of the career there, was there a feeling that, I don't know, we were a little bit ahead of the curve here? We were a little bit early to market with this?
I don't think so. I think the business was, suited for the time period it was in. It wasn't anything kind of like super crazy out there. I think the main thing was that once they saw it integrated within a big institution, like we've seen with a lot of players, they saw that it kind of stifles the product, for use of a better word. And so I think they felt that, it didn't quite reach its full potential, but by then it's too late, right? It's sold. So that's it. It's out of their hands. So they said, okay, we'll build again and we'll start again. And that's how the business came into existence. And then once it got going, in being built in-house, it took quite a lot of time, quite a lot of work. And soon after, they started to fly into the US to meet some of the biggest companies there, with the idea to say, hey, you're expanding into Europe, we can be a partner for that. And that's really like where the journey started. And the focus was always the biggest enterprise merchants, because it was a complicated world, and that's kind of what we're built to solve.
Okay, so when you say the biggest enterprise merchants, who can you tell me about?
Yeah, I mean, back then, it would have been Netflix, it would have been Google, it would have been Facebook, Microsoft, and, to this date, still merchants that we work with.
That was a pretty high aim.
Yeah, it was. I think that there was a term coined, that the Adyen guys, the Adyen sales team, was kind of like the SAS of payments, the Navy SEALs of payments. Because, they would land and just really like blow people away, like, wow, like you actually get payments. at a time when obviously the whole industry was progressing a lot. These new business models were coming up. The demand from payment providers was so much different that it was quite like, oh, okay, well, actually, these guys understand it from the bottom up. Let's see what they can do. And that's kind of how it started.
Well, these products always need to be sold, don't they? I think people forget that. It's that, salespeople, dirty word with some people, I suppose.
Well, it's the owners that were doing it. So, you eat what you kill.
Yeah, absolutely right. Okay, so what about your history with Adyen then? What's your background?
Sure. So my history with Adyen is somewhat short. I've been here with the business in the Middle East for a year.
Right.
Myself, I've been in the region for close to 10 years. Always within payments, but I kind of have gone through the spectrum of payments, which is started in a very traditional FX brokerage side of payments, went into the crypto payment gateway side, and now kind of, I always say, landed in the middle between the two, something that has been around for some time, but being executed in a very innovative way.
Okay, let's then talk about your research here, because I think this is really interesting. Let's look at just some of the findings. The headline is AI adoption in tourism is emerging as a defining trend in 2025. We all know that AI is everywhere in 2025. But just talk me through the top line findings first of all. What's the subheading to that?
Yeah, sure. So maybe just context, the report is a report that speaks to 40,000 consumers across 28 different countries. So it's a global report, of which, of course, the UAE is a part of.
Right.
And the idea is obviously to see from a consumer side, but also from a business side, what their views within AI, hospitality as a whole, are trends that are developing. That's then used to obviously help us with what kind of products we build, and also how we support the merchants to better serve their customer. The headline numbers, unsurprisingly, is that adoption is up a lot. So 7 out of 10 people in the UAE over last year had used AI to make bookings for their trips, their holidays, vacations, whatever, which is up 57% from the year before. So it's, you could argue, now the common practice to use AI to book your holiday rather than the traditional means of just going onto a booking website and that's it.
I mean, 57% is clearly a majority, but in what way are people using AI?
Yeah.
How much can we drill down into that?
Yeah, sure. So I think it's a developing space in a sense of a lot of people are using AI to almost like enhance the search experience. So before, you would Google, hey, where's good to go in November?
Yeah.
Now, AI can, of course, support that. But I think what's becoming more specific is that I, as a user, can say, hey, I want to go to XYZ type of country during this period. I'm traveling with the child, and I want to do these type of excursions. And then it gives me a much more refined output of, okay, these are the hotels, these are the destinations, etc. That's kind of largely where we've been. Where we're now stepping into is that, yep, we can do that, but also you can now go into the territory of actually saying, okay, please book that. And then it will go ahead and look to book your flight or your stay. Now, it's very early days, and this is the point where I cue in the buzzword of agentic AI, and that's something that we, as a business, are keeping a very close eye on. We actually just recently announced that we are one of the partners with Google creating the agentic AI protocol, because obviously there's a million questions that come up when you say, ChatGPT or an equivalent is now going to take my credit card and start booking stuff for me. Who's responsible? What happens if, et cetera, et cetera. So there's many things. So there needs to be a whole protocol built around it, and we're also working with the likes of Google to build that.
So really, AI is kind of, there's a point at which AI joins the dots between thinking about your holiday and deciding exactly what you want to do. And we're now pretty much past the stage of joining the dots. into phase 2, if you like, however you might term it, of here's your offering, why don't you book? So it has become the sales platform as well.
And you can do it. It's clunky, so it's being, let's say, more streamlined, but it's already there. But there are, as I said, a lot of those question marks, and so the schemes, big players like Google, financial platforms like us, looking to kind of explore and see, like, how do we do this in a way that keeps the consumer safe, keeps the merchant safe, keeps fraud out of the picture as much as possible, because obviously you're entering a new world, right?
Yeah.
If individuals using AI to make bookings, what about individuals using AI, to use it as fraud? So you have to be quite careful when you're talking about trillions moving around the world.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I guess that's something you have to keep in mind, whatever you do online.
Yep.
In terms of the generations where adoption is moving up, my generation, I'm probably firmly Generation X, probably slightly grumpily, I have to admit. But also Gen Z as well. Gen Y, I guess, are used to this. This is just the way they've been brought up. That's how it works. Gen Z are getting older and able to now, book holidays. Maybe I'm making some money to book holidays.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm simplifying this too much. And maybe Gen X is just catching on that, okay, I can actually use this Google thing in this direction. Is that a reasonable assumption?
Yes, it is.
Simply
I think from the report we saw that Gen Z and millennials are by far the highest, around 70% within that bracket will use AI.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Gen X are also, in terms of growth, you can see that they're adopting a lot more. Okay, maybe at a slower pace, which is understandable because of age or whatever. But I think it's also becoming a bit of an undeniable fact that it's just very intuitive and easy to use. So in fact, it's conversational. It's like messaging someone. So there's a very low barrier. So I don't see why an older generation, Gen X, whatever you want to term it, doesn't start adopting it more and more. I think it's just visibility. And I did the same thing this summer. I went back to the UK. We were booking a trip to Sri Lanka. Sat there with my mother-in-law and showed her, oh, hey, look, this is how we do it. Oh, cool, this is nice.
And she liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Will she use it? I don't know, but let's see. She knows now.
But the thing, it's awareness, isn't it, as much as anything? And I mean, to me, AI became part of my daily life when Google decided to employ it with initial searches. Yeah. And I think that's probably the case for a lot of people. Generationally, I don't think there's a divide there. But there is, I think, inherently a trust. It's not an issue. There is definitely a trust barrier in some cases. And that may be a slightly older generation way of thinking. But I think there is a great deal of, well, how much can I rely on AI at the moment with a lot of people? And I think that's something that we're increasingly seeing broken down. Yeah. But I think it's still there. Is that a fair
for sure, because it moves so fast from day to day, like over the last 2 weeks, it's announcements with crazy numbers, is investing here, this is being built, and you just kind of almost like disassociate, like I don't even know what these numbers are, and it's
so hard to keep up. It's like keeping up with real estate developments in Dubai. There's just no point. Just tell me where it is, I'll go and have a look. It's the same kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that will deter people because it moves too fast to really get a grip on it. If I don't have a grip on something, I don't fully trust it. Yeah. And so I think there'll need to be some stabilization. People will need to become familiar. There need to be instances where the right thing has happened. For example, if there's fraud, the right outcome has come, and then people will get comfortable. But you have to remember, we're literally at between day 0 and 1 of this whole kind of wave. So I think it will come. And I think eventually, whether you are using it directly or, as you say, you pop it into Google, you're already using it. So you get more comfortable, and then it's just about using it in different spaces or places of your life.
I should have AI'd this whole interview, actually, shouldn't I?
Well, I was thinking when you said, AI is everywhere, I said, well, you still got me here, so
I know.
Not everywhere.
I don't think we're quite replaceable yet, but it's probably not that far down the road.
Yeah.
There is a gap, though, isn't there, between the expectations of a consumer, a holiday maker, what they're looking for, what they want to do, what they want to experience, and the capabilities that a hospitality business has.
True.
I suppose it's a gap in the same way as AI is growing. It's narrowing fast. Where are you seeing that gap play out at this point in time?
Yeah, so whether it's AI or other developments, I think hospitality as a business is quite traditional, and it's good in a way because I think a lot of hospitality businesses are focused on the experience of the people that are coming there, which I think is good because I think if you make everything digital and there's no human element, you lose a lot of what you gain in hospitality, where you feel pampered or special when you arrive at a certain resort.
Yeah.
The problem comes because hospitality businesses are big. They consist of rooms, they consist of F&B, experiences, etc. They are built on many systems.
Yeah.
Those systems are from different eras. Maybe something on front desk hasn't changed for a while, but something on the hospitality and the F&B side has. How do you then get those systems to talk to a new wave of technology like AI in the same way? Super hard. And I think although AI is something that is very much on the consumer's mind, for hospitality businesses, they are probably still trying to figure out exactly where it fits in and where exactly it gives them an ROI, because they need to also upgrade the current plumbing they have before they can add these new and innovative technologies. And that's also where we try to support, as best as possible, because as an ethos, like I mentioned, we build everything in-house. So everything is our own. So we don't have third parties involved. And so, one of our USPs is that, hey, look, if you work with us, you sign one contract and you have one provider. And we integrate with your systems, and it doesn't add complexity. It makes things simpler. So a lot of businesses that we speak to are kind of going through that process of upgrading, looking to partners like us to make things simple, to go from 13 payment providers to, let's say, 1 or 2. And then they can start to think, okay, now how do I build on top of that? Because it's really nice to talk about AI. It's really great. It's innovative. It's interesting. But I think for a lot of businesses, it's just not the reality yet. There's internal plumbing, for use of a better term, that needs to be upgraded in order to build on that. Otherwise, you're building something on top of something very old. It's not going to work how you want it to.
I like that phrase, internal plumbing, because it seems to me it is exactly what it is. I mean, if you look at, I don't know, airline reservation systems, for example, it's a legacy system, isn't it?
Yeah.
At best.
And they've kept up by not scrapping the old one and putting a new one in. It's kind of like, okay, here's my old one, pop that on top, pop this on top. Oh, that's a cool feature, stick that on there.
Yeah.
And then it becomes problematic. It has bugs, it has issues, and that then trickles down into the consumer, which doesn't make a very nice customer experience. And I think that's a bigger part of the problem that they're trying to solve. And AI for sure will be part of it as they go through each one of the systems they use. The one that they upgrade to or they start using will for sure, have the AI element. But that is a big change management project. And when you're a hotel or hotel group with multiple hotels in multiple jurisdictions, that's a pretty tough job.
It is. I mean, you expect, I don't know, pick a hotel chain, an international chain, a Hilton in the UAE to be the same as it is in Suriname, the same as it is in Australia, the same as it is everywhere. You expect that kind of seamless experience. And I think we see that with, I don't know, take online shopping. If that's something you do with one of the big ones, it's pretty seamless wherever you go. Your account translates pretty much wherever you go. As long as you get the address right, you're going to have something delivered to it. But you don't get that seamless experience. And I think very often we're a little bit impatient, aren't we, as people?
Very much so. Yeah, I think that's the other challenge that a lot of businesses, not just hospitality, have, is that it's the attention span, the demand, but at the same time, that's not a bad thing because, a business should listen to what it's hearing. And if it's hearing the same thing of like, this is not good enough, that's probably the place where you should focus on. And again, a lot of the conversation we have is around that. Because different stakeholders have different focal points. Could be price, it could be efficiency, it could be whatever. But if the consumer is not getting a good experience, that should go to the.
They're going to let you know, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they will, exactly.
Yeah, they're going to walk.
And it's not getting easier because they're getting more demanding because everywhere else they look, everything is streamless. Yeah. Exactly.
No, it would be nice to be able to think. I want to plug this into my search engine. There are many available. Let's stop naming brands here. I want to go to Sri Lanka. I would like to do a trek. I want to do it in the foothills of a misty mountain in the early morning. There's certain demands that you make.
Yeah.
And you want the itinerary and the price and the booking to be spat back at you as quickly as you would asking Google a question about, who won the WWE latest Saturday night, whatever. That's where the issue lies. The internet is so seamless in so many ways, but so clunky in so many others.
Yeah, but then it creates an opportunity because if you think about that, let's say prompt, it's going to take multiple sources from all over.
I'm glad you know the technical terms. Thanks. Prompt was what I was looking for. Tip of my tongue.
Yeah, I think there was a phase where it was like, prompt engineers get paid hundreds of thousands. Oh, I'm going to learn how to prompt. So they pull links and information from various different sources, and so there's opportunity. Like who aggregates that? Because then it's all well and good that you've given it to me, but now I've got to go to 5 different places to book it. And that's where this whole kind of agentic AI wave is coming in, because then technically you should, in one prompt or one entry, be able to book everything in one go.
Before we get to, I want to talk to you, drill down a little bit more into Gen X versus Gen Y, Gen Z, and the kinds of things they're planning. To look at across age groups, if you like. But it must be, for you, this must be fascinating.
Yeah, no, it is.
In terms of just the philosophical attitudes, the sociological side of this is, how people think and what people are wanting to do. And I guess as well, it must give you ideas of, your next holiday trip.
It certainly does.
As much as anything. Yeah.
No, it is super interesting. And I think for me, like, the beauty of all of this is that it does open the world up to a lot of people, and it will keep it on the context of, travel. It's quite daunting to book big trips and go through multiple steps, and this makes it a lot simpler. It's not exactly fun. I can think of my own experiences where, you find a destination, but then you got to find a hotel and you got to go through 10 pages and do I like it? And it all depends on the first picture, and you could miss so many because, the first picture is no good. You just get into this cycle, and I've been there for hours, trying to find something with 10 tabs open. So it's great because it streamlines all of that, and then ultimately it saves me time and then stress. And if I think about a holiday experience, then everything seems a lot more seamless. I'm not stressed, running around, going there, prep this. Oh, what have I done that? It's already kind of been done. It
would be great to think that a holiday should be about relieving stress. A holiday is all about chilling out and doing what you want to do and not having to worry about things. By the same token, the booking of the holiday should be a pleasurable experience.
Should be, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I think very often
it's the fun part.
It should be the fun part, the planning and the looking, and it would be nice to think, well, I have my one site, and I really like that. Oh, let's book that. Tick, 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 tick. It should be that easy, but it generally isn't that easy. I've got to be honest with you. And I was saying this to somebody the other day, just last week. In this very studio, at this very time, I asked my son to book flights for me, book hotels, because I just can't face it. I used to love the days of sitting with a travel agent and just saying, can I do this, 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 and this? And they'd be like, well, you can do this,
Poor
but
travel
you can't
agents.
do that. I know, I was never that popular. But there was something about that. And I like the personal relationship with it as well. But to be able to do everything that I want to do, to plan for my holiday, to think, oh, this is going to be great, that increases the anticipation. And I wonder if there's an opportunity in there. If you've made that experience far more seamless and increased the anticipation, there has to be a financial implication from that. That may be slightly cynical, but if it's good, you're willing to spend that little bit more money. There's something in that.
I do agree. Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm sure that there are businesses looking at that. And everyone thinks in an experience. And if the experience is good, if it's calm, if it's seamless, I think many people would pay much more for it.
Yeah,
Maybe not much more, just if anyone's listening.
But it's it's reasonable to pay for a reasonable service, I think, and I don't think that's unreasonable to state. It's perfectly fair. We are talking about new research from Adyen, revealing that AI adoption amongst UAE travellers has surged 57% year on year. There are no real surprises that it's surged so much. AI is everywhere; it's part of our lives. But Daumantas Grigaravicius is with me. He's the head of Middle East for the Fintech platform Adyen. We're going to talk some more about some of your findings, and we'll come back and we'll look at the Gen X, Gen Y, Gen Z distinctions, I guess, in a few moments. This is Mira Business FM.
Mira Business FM.